The Pale Lady. This story is from the 1960s. In England, there lived a woman named Lucy Morgan. She was very beautiful. Lucy's parents had died, and she lived with her Aunt Mary. Lucy wanted to become a very famous painter. One day, Mary comes over to her while she was painting.
Lucy, you are very talented. You should take some classes for painting. I want to learn, Aunt Mary. There's a lady named Mrs. Rose outside the city. I want to learn painting from her. She is a very famous painter. But I will not leave you. Oh, don't worry about me, Lucy. You can't set your dreams aside on my behalf. You remember Aunt Anna, my sister? Maybe you could stay with her.
Lucy packs her luggage and goes to sleep. She is fast asleep. And then she sees a scary dream. Lucy is in a strange room where the walls are completely white and have black spots on them. There are nail marks on the walls.
Where am I? Is anyone here? Hello? Is anyone here?
Suddenly, drops of blood start dripping down on her. When she looks up fearfully, no one is there. When she looks down, her feet are soaked in the blood. Then the blood is all over the room.
Save me!
The blood is rising, and with running, she goes to the window and opens it. Not far outside the window is a woman, floating in the air. Her face is pale, and her lips are stitched closed with twine. Her eyes are black with no pupils. She slowly moves forward towards Lucy.
Who are you? Leave me! Leave me!
Lucy falls back from the window and stumbles, falling into the blood flowing into the room. She is shivering in fear, terrified as she watches the floating woman slowly come through the window. The woman glides above the blood and reaches for Lucy's neck. Lucy opens her eyes, awaking from the dream. She reaches to her neck where the woman touched her.
No! Leave me alone! Leave me alone!
Then Mary runs into her room.
What happened, Lucy? Did you have a nightmare? Yes, Auntie. It was the worst nightmare. I had never seen such a terrible face. There's nothing to fear. I will sleep in your room the rest of the night. Besides, tomorrow you will leave.
The next day, Lucy says goodbye to Mary and goes to Mary's sister's house, Anna.
Come, Lucy. I will show you your room. I have talked to Mrs. Rose, and she will come to teach you painting herself from tomorrow. Yes, Auntie, thank you.
Anna takes Lucy to show her her room, and as she opens the door, Lucy is surprised to see the room. It is the same room as she had dreamed the night before. The same white wall and black round marks and a window. Lucy remembers that woman in her dream, and she is horrified.
How did the room look, Lucy? It is fine, Aunt.
Lucy tells Anna nothing about the dream, but she barely sleeps in that room that night. The next day, she's waiting with a canvas and colors on the table when there's a knock on her door.
Hello, Mrs. Rose. I'm a big fan. It's my privilege to learn painting from you.
Mrs. Rose comes in, and the door closes by itself. Lucy is confused and afraid.
I'm very happy to meet you, too.
Mrs. Rose turns away for a moment and then turns back to Lucy, but her face has changed. She looks just like the terrible woman Lucy saw in her dream. Lucy is horrified and screams. The pale lady goes limp and falls to the floor. The pale lady comes close to her and scratches Lucy's beautiful face. Aunt Anna hears and tries to open the door, but it will not open. Anna opens the door and sees Mrs. Rose unconscious, and she sees terrible scratches on Lucy's face.
Who did that, Lucy? Her face was white. Such a horrible face.
Anna is shocked.
Was she a pale lady? She's back again? Who is this pale lady? And why is she doing this? She came into my dream before coming here. 30 years ago, strange things started happening in this city. Beautiful girls in the city would be hit in the face by stones, even if they were just walking down the road. The police tried very hard to find out who's behind it. Then, after a few months, they figured out who it was. It was a woman named Lily, who was not very beautiful. Her skin was very pale. She had a cut on her lip, because she had an accident in childhood and she was an escaped patient from a mental asylum. To make things even better, she told that people used to mock a lot because of her face, so she injured beautiful women. When the police were taking her to jail, people stoned her to death. It is said that her soul still attacks beautiful girls and kills them. Lucy, you have to leave from here, or else she will kill you too.
On the floor, the teacher Rose moaned and awoke. She was shocked that the pale lady had taken over her body.
Madam, you too should go away. No, Anna and I will face it together. She is jealous of our beauty, right? We will set a trap for her. Anna and I want you to bring me holy water from the pastor. I know how to finish off that pale lady.
Lucy and Anna agreed. That same evening, Lucy wore a beautiful dress and did a lot of good makeup and looked at herself in the mirror.
Lucy, you look very beautiful. Lily would have been jealous if we had seen both of us.
It is the pale lady, enraged at Lucy's beauty. The ghostly figure screams at such a high pitch that all the glass in the house breaks. She glides in through the broken window. After coming close, she whips her long hair into Lucy's face. The touch of her hair burns Lucy's skin, and she screams with pain. The pale lady scratches Lucy's body with her fingernails. Lucy can't bear the pain. She tries to run away. The pale lady grabs her hair and pulls her back. Her pale hands start to get longer, and she grabs Lucy by the neck, choking her.
I will ruin your beauty.
Lucy is screaming in pain. Then Mrs. Rose starts chanting a spiritual chant. The pale lady's ears start hurting, and she starts screaming.
How dare you?
She appears in her more powerful form and pushes Mrs. Rose to the ground, but it does not stop Mrs. Rose from reciting the chants. The pale lady starts pressing her neck.
In the name of all that is holy, I condemn you to hell.
Mrs. Rose's face turns pale. Then Anna comes from behind and sprays holy water all over the pale lady, and the pale lady begins to suffer, leaving Mrs. Rose and turning to attack Anna. But just as she does, Anna puts a cross locket around the ghost's neck. The pale lady starts to suffer and slowly disappears from her feet. Her effect on Lucy begins to diminish, and slowly the pale lady disappears. And it is in this way that the pale lady comes to an end. The end.